Joining us now from Senate Budget, Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, this is an epic debacle. It showed how easy it was for Democrats to use Americans' pain for 40 days to get what they couldn't get in legislative order. Dick Durbin, Jeanne Shaheen said they voted to reopen to stop the suffering of Americans. They couldn't get that Obamacare bailout in regular legislative order, so they made everybody go through a world of pain for 40 days.
Yeah, Liz, 40 days and 49 aboard the Schumer shutdown arc, and we're all ready to get off of it. I think, first of all, we should stop and applaud the 8 Democrats that walked across the aisle. That's true courage. Leadership is doing the right thing when it's not popular, especially in your own party. And then as I assess now, the people from their own party, the far left, the legacy media, the ones that are yelling the loudest are saying what we said all along, that this was a political shutdown. They think there was still political gain to be had, but the 8 that came across said enough of this. Look, Obamacare is broken. We're going to work on that as well, but meanwhile, the government's almost back open. We're on the 3-yard line, first and goal at the 3-yard line, and even any moment now, we're hoping to get called to the Senate floor to start this series of votes.
Yeah, we hear you. We're hearing the bravery of those 8 Senate Democrats standing up to the far left. You know, Gallup is out with their brand new poll. American voters' trust in the federal government just hit a near 5-decade low. So this is what's going on. So with the voters out there, so the deal right now to reopen, Hakeem Jeffries now says he's going to block the deal. It's going to extend current funding levels through just the end of January. 3 full-year bills covering agriculture, the VA, as well as legislative operations. Is that what you're hearing?
Right, exactly. And going forward, there's 12 buckets of funding in the federal government. This bill has 3 of them in it. 6 of the other we've already have across the Appropriations Committee ready to come to the floor. So that's the hope here is between now and January 31st, we get all 12 of these buckets done, fund the federal government, and then let's start working on these affordability issues. Let's start working. Actually, we're starting to work yesterday. The cost of housing, the cost of health care, the cost of electricity. And I say yesterday. Of course, we've been working on it longer, but literally speaking, early.
This was a political shutdown to set up for the midterms next year, to go after Trump. Is there a chance that Obamacare can be fixed? Because even Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, Adam Schiff, Dick Durbin now saying, yes, Obamacare is broken.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Even last night, Bernie Sanders declaring that Obamacare is broken. So finally, they've admitted it's broken. Now we have to agree on how to fix it. Working with President Trump, I think he has a brilliant idea. And rather than giving insurance companies $150 billion a year from Obamacare, let's give it to consumers out there. Let's give it to hardworking Americans and let them make their own decisions on health care. Let's eliminate the fraud. Let's stop the corporate welfare for insurance companies. Give it to patients and consumers.
Senator Roger Marshall, a pleasure to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Today, I would like to wish a happy 250th birthday to the United States Marine Corps, who we are all so proud of. Since 1775, our country's chief expeditionary force has been the first to fight and keep America safe at home and around the world, both at sea and on land. And for all Marines, past and present, and their families, because their families sacrifice and serve as well, whether you're in active duty today or a reserve, or those who have served in the past, like members of my family, let us never ever forget to say thank you for your courage, your service, and your sacrifice to a grateful nation. We love our Marines. God bless and happy birthday.
One of the Democrats who voted yes last night, Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, joins us now. Senator, good morning. Thank you for being with us. Let's just start with asking you to explain your vote. Why did you feel like this was the moment to cast your ballot to reopen the government?
Well, I think the shutdown has really, as Joe said so well, crystallized for Americans the fight around health care and who's for making sure that people can afford their health insurance and who's willing to let them pay higher costs. It gives us the opportunity to have a vote on a bill that we will write by mid-December, and Americans will have another chance to see who's on their side and who's not. I hope that our Republican colleagues understand now that this is an issue that affects millions of Americans, and we need to address it. But unfortunately, we've got after 40 days, we've got, as you pointed out, air traffic control that's a mess. We've got government workers who are not getting paid. We've got people who can't get food. We've got mothers and children who can't get their WIC benefits. And so we need to end that suffering and continue to fight about health care. And what this agreement will allow us to do is to continue to fund food benefits, continue to fund WIC, continue to fund veterans benefits, and force Speaker Johnson to come back in with the House and actually do the work of this country that he has been AWOL on since the beginning of September.
Senator, Democrats probably had their best week in over a year and a half. It has been a bleak year and a half for the Democratic Party, starting with that debate back in June. I'm curious, are Democrats going to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder, even though obviously you disagree with Bernie Sanders, and there are other progressives who disagree with the vote that many people took, that Angus King and others took last night. But at the end of the day, will Democrats stand shoulder to shoulder and get ready for that next battle in January?
I believe Democrats will stand shoulder to shoulder because we understand how important it is for the American people to have affordable health care prices. And, you know, it's not just blue states that are affected. Red states are affected, too. And so members of Congress who say they're not willing to vote on these premium tax credits need to be paying attention to their constituents. I think we can get a bipartisan bill out of the Senate that will address this issue. And if not, we know that the voters are going to know who's on their side and who's going to hold them accountable.
Senator, it's Ali Vitale. I know you were one of the consistent leaders throughout the last 4+ weeks on bipartisan negotiations. Ultimately, I wonder if you can talk to me about what Leader Schumer's message was to you and your colleagues when you came to him with this original plan, and if he blessed the deal that you ultimately made, given the fact that he did vote against it.
Well, we kept Senator Schumer informed throughout bipartisan discussions that have really gone on since the beginning of the shutdown. And he's been clear about his position. But I think, again, what's important is that this gives us an opportunity to vote on the floor of the Senate by mid-December on a bill that we will write that will address the cost of health insurance for Americans and extend those premium tax credits. And hopefully our Republican colleagues will work with us on that. I introduced that legislation back in 2019, introduced it again during COVID, again in the Inflation Reduction Act, and again, that was the first piece of legislation I introduced this year. I am 100% behind ensuring that people can afford their health care, and I'm going to keep fighting to make sure that happens.
All right, ranking member of the Foreign Relations Committee, Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen of New Hampshire, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Vice President J.D. Vance. Vice President J.D. Vance will now present the piece of cake to the oldest Marine in attendance as a sign of honor and respect according to experience and seniority. Our oldest Marine this evening was born on 26 April 1926 in Brooklyn, New York, and enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1944, he was assigned to 4th Tank Battalion, 4th Marine Division, and fought on Iwo Jima from D-Day +1 to 26 March 1945. He was honorably discharged on 7 June 1946 with the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 1 Battle Star and World War II Victory Medal. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Corporal Nils Mokler, United States Marine Band.
Thank you, Zach. Well, the Senate is back in session this weekend as the government shutdown has now entered its 6th week. Democrats offered a plan that would extend Obamacare tax credits for 1 year and fund the government. Meantime, Republicans want the government to reopen before negotiating on health care. Senator Shelley Capito voiced her frustration during a press conference on Thursday.
Well, the hangups are that we can't get the Democrats to open the government before we begin negotiating. That's always been the deal. The leader in the Senate, the Republican leader, has said all along he's willing, and many of us have said this, including the president, that to talk about the premium subsidy issue in health care, but they're unwilling to open the government to begin those discussions. I've voted now, I think 14 or 15 times to open the government. Quite simple. I did the same thing during the Biden administration, and I'm doing it now. I am not going to vote to ever shut down the government.
Stay with 7 News and WTRF.com for updates on the government shutdown.
Telling the story of America is impossible without telling the story of the United States Marine Corps. Their sacrifices have safeguarded our freedom. Their discipline has inspired generations. Their traditions of toughness, honor, duty have stood the test of time. This milestone, 250 years, is an opportunity to reflect, to honor, and to recommit. We honor the thousands of Marines who never made it home, who gave their last full measure of devotion, as the saying goes. We honor the Gold Star families who carry their memory every single day. We honor the wounded in body and some in spirit, whose lives are forever shaped by their service. We honor every Marine, past and present, who has earned the title with sweat, sacrifice, and a fierce sense of purpose. Let me acknowledge as well the families who stand behind every Marine, spouses, children, parents. They serve quietly, often without any recognition, but always with deep devotion. Their strength sustains the Corps, those families and friends and loved ones. Their sacrifices, too, must be honored. Mr. President, the 250th anniversary is not only a celebration, it's a solemn reminder we make to all who wear the eagle, lobe, and anchor that we will never forget their service, and we will always fight to give them the support, care, and respect they've earned. Let us rededicate ourselves to the ideals they uphold: freedom, justice, service above self. To every Marine, from the youngest recruit in Paris Island or San Diego to the oldest veteran in our communities, we say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for never wavering as a Marine. Happy birthday, United States Marine Corps. Semper Fidelis.
House Majority Whip and Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer joins us now. Great to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us. So nobody talks to more members in your caucus than you do. Do you feel pretty confident that Republicans are holding steady?
Oh, without a doubt. And good morning to all three of you. Look, we're in day 39. This is a political game by Chuck Schumer and Democrats in the Senate. And unfortunately, nobody wins in this crazy game, and every American is losing. I mean, we saw what happened yesterday when the transportation secretary had to order 10% of the airspace closed over 40 different major airport hubs in this country. 800 flights yesterday alone were canceled. Our members are very solid where they're at. Remember, the actual proposal by the Senate Democrats is for $1.5 trillion in new spending, and they want to talk about this healthcare thing. Well, take a look at their bill. It's 68 pages long that they filed in the Senate. Guys, the healthcare issue is 1.5 pages. That thing is loaded with the very poor. Go back to the American Rescue Plan. You remember that? That was a Biden-era Democrat spending mess that was called by economists the original sin because it kicked off double-digit inflation that we hadn't seen in 40 years. Donald Trump inherited that. He's been building the economy back. I mean, it takes a while, and he's doing amazing things, whether it's energy, grocery prices, etc. But you know what? Now these guys want to do the same thing that put Americans in the ditch under Joe Biden. No, our members are holding strong because they're not going to do that.
And Congressman, it's worth pointing out that the spending levels under this clean CR for 39 days that Democrats in the Senate will not pass are at the Biden levels. This was Chuck Schumer's compromise deal. I want you to listen to what he's proposing and get your reaction. Listen.
Democrats are ready to clear the way to quickly pass a government funding bill that includes health care affordability. Leader Thune just needs to add a clean one-year extension of the ACA tax credits to the CR so that we can immediately address rising health care costs. The ball is in the Republicans' court. We need Republicans to just say yes.
Your reaction, sir?
Well, Chuck Schumer is way past his prime, guys. God bless him. It is time that he goes. He's desperate to hold on to his leadership position. And you got to love, he's like a guy who starts your house on fire and then runs outside and says, hey, I'm ready to help you put it out if you've got a hose that you can give me. This guy is, he's delusional. He's now calling for something other than the $1.5 trillion in spending. By the way, he asked for a one-year extension of those Obamacare subsidies. I want you to think of two things. One, if it's true that these temporary subsidies that were created by Democrats during the pandemic to prop up Obamacare, if it's true that without those, Obamacare is going to collapse, isn't that a condemnation of the Affordable Care Act? Yeah. It's not affordable, and it is driving these costs.
Of course.
Look, what he's proposing now is nonsense. There was a bill brought up yesterday again by Republicans in the Senate to fund essential federal employees like air traffic controllers, our military, etc. Guess what, guys? There's Chuck Schumer telling you that we just need Republicans, and he and his colleagues voted that down for the second time. They have no interest in helping Americans. They are putting their politics ahead of Americans and their lives.
Well, Congressman, I think you're right about Chuck Schumer's irrelevance. One of Mondami's top advisors was asked if they were surprised about the not getting the endorsement in the end from Chuck Schumer, and he said, Chuck who? All right. Congressman, great having you on, and thanks for getting up early for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Congressman.
You bet.
Call to stand, to protect, to serve. 250 years, that call is echoed across generations. It's called to men and women ready to give everything for something bigger than themselves. And for 250 years, Marines have answered every time. I heard that call growing up, the son of immigrants, wanting to give back to the country that gave me everything, and I still hear it today. The men I serve with are the best I've ever known. Every single one of them left a mark on this country and on me that can't be measured. Being a Marine isn't just about fighting for your country. It's about loving the person next to you enough to risk everything for them. It's about service, sacrifice, and never leaving anyone behind. From generation to generation, Marines have carried the fight and never backed down. We don't ask if it's hard, we ask when do we start. We don't quit, we adapt, and we overcome. Because being a Marine doesn't end when you hang up that uniform. It's a mindset that I still carry through with me, and something that you will carry forever. To every Marine, past and present, thank you for answering the call. The ones still serving, keep the faith, keep the fight, and keep each other safe. Semper Fi, my brothers, always faithful and always ready.
We gave Republicans not one, not two, but 3 chances this year to extend the ACA premium tax credits. Republicans said no every time. On Friday, we offered Republicans a compromise, a proposal that would extend the ACA tax credits for a year and open up the government at the same time. They once again said no. And when they said no on our compromise, they showed that they are against any health care reform. Instead, they passed the biggest health care cuts in our nation's history just to give tax breaks to billionaires, and even then, they weren't satisfied with merely closing hospitals and community health clinics. They callously did nothing to deal with the looming crisis of ACA credits. Premiums will spike by thousands of dollars a month. Millions will lose insurance. Democrats have sounded the alarm. We have demanded for months to meet with the Republican leadership. But Republican leaders refuse to even discuss the issue, let alone negotiate it. We've asked them to meet in the summer and throughout the shutdown. To this day, Republicans still say no. We asked President Trump to step in and meet with us to deliver lower health care for Americans, and instead, Donald Trump has taken the American people hostage, from cutting off food aid to hungry families and vets and seniors and kids, to manufacturing flight cancellations, to cutting off home heating aid, while he builds a billion-dollar ballroom with gold-plated toilets. Therefore, I must vote no. This health care crisis is so severe, so urgent, so devastating for families back home that I cannot in good faith support this CR that fails to address the health care crisis. But let me be clear, however this vote turns out, this fight will and must continue. Democrats must fight because of millions of families will lose health care coverage. We must fight because children who are dying of cancer will not get health care coverage. We must fight because a senior citizen cannot afford to pay $25,000 a year just for health insurance. We must fight to keep millions from financial ruin. And make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this health care trauma on them: Donald Trump and the Republicans. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. So we are going to fight legislatively, fight back home, fight in the courts, and bring this fight in the elections. Health care costs made a major impact on the 2025 election, and they will certainly have an even greater impact on the 2026 election. So in conclusion, the contrast between the two parties is crystal clear. Republicans are the party hell-bent on taking people's health care away, all to bow to the billionaire elite and special interests. Democrats are united as the party of lower health care costs and improving our health care system. We will not give up this fight. We will deliver for the American people. I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, after 40 long days, I'm hopeful that we can finally bring this shutdown to an end. And I don't need to go over all the reasons why it's imperative that we get the government open as soon as possible. From the truly precarious situation we are in with regard to air travel to the fact that our staffs have been working without pay for a full 40 days now, all of us.
Well, I'm very proud to represent our city, known as Military City, USA, in the U.S. House of Representatives. And this film is very special to me for many reasons, one of which is that I'm also a proud West Sider that grew up on the west side of San Antonio, like JV. You know, our city has a long military history, and it's known as Military City, USA, not just because of the many military bases over the years that were housed here, the military installation known as Joint Base San Antonio, and the many veterans who call San Antonio home, but also because of so many service members over the years who went and joined war. Over the generations, there have been so many fathers and mothers who watched their sons and now their daughters go off to faraway lands to fight on behalf of the United States and our allies. They anguished for them. They reveled in every note or every letter or every email that they received from them. They hoped for their safety and for their safe return. And many did come home, but some, like JV, never did. and those families still live in anguish today. So I want to take a second to recognize any of the Gold Star families that are here with us today and thank them for their sacrifice as well. And you know, the west side of San Antonio over the years has given so much, not only to our city, but to our country. I said that I was a West Sider. I grew up, for those of you that are familiar with the Kennedy High School area, my dad taught at Kennedy for several years. He taught in the Edgewood District for 26 years, 31 as a teacher. And I grew up on Weir Street, which is right by the DPS building off of General McMullen. And there is so much heart and so much humility and hard work in those neighborhoods. And unfortunately, as we've sent many soldiers and service members to war, when they've come back, unfortunately, our government has not always treated them the way they should be treated. Y'all know, for example, that for years it took Vietnam veterans to get the government to recognize the harmful effects of Agent Orange. It took many years for Afghanistan and Iraq veterans to get the government to acknowledge the damage that burn pits did to so many. I was proud, as a representative of San Antonio, to be the first member of Congress, along with a United States Senator, to host a forum on the effects of burn pits in the United States Congress several years ago. And fortunately, a few years ago, President Biden signed the PACT Act to make sure that we remedy those injustices. And this documentary, of course, I'm looking forward to seeing it, but as I understand, it's a documentary about war, about the brutality of war, but also about brotherhood and love and sacrifice. And it's the story of our proud hero, JV, who was a proud Mexican-American Marine. And that's important because oftentimes, especially now, when Latinos are characterized in the media, they're often defined by negative stereotypes. Hispanics as drug dealers, as quote-unquote illegal, as gangbangers. This is an important statement, an acknowledgement that the Latino community, many of them have been service members and soldiers who have done right by this country, who have contributed to the country, and who have made us proud. That's what this story is about today. And so, y'all, I'm proud to be in a room full of veterans and artists and visionaries and doers. And I want to thank the Latino Public Broadcasting for co-producing the film and for highlighting stories like this worth sharing. A special thank you to Luis Ortiz, the managing director at LPB, and to the filmmakers, Laura Varela, Andrew James Gonzalez, and everybody involved in the film for your efforts telling this important story for San Antonio and for the world to see. And I believe that JV would be proud to see us gathered here today. And in his memory, we'll come together, speak up for service members and for veterans, and share his story. I look forward to sharing his story with members of Congress in the coming weeks and the coming months. May his legacy live on in this film, in the stories that we share, and in our community. Thank y'all so much, and God bless you.
This November marks 50 years since the Edmund Fitzgerald tragically capsized in Lake Superior. Today, the legend of the Edmund Fitzgerald has been carried on through generations of Michiganders, maritime professionals, and Great Lakes enthusiasts. Its story reminds us of the strength of our Great Lakes, especially the big lake they call Gitchaguni. And through this anniversary, we preserve the memory of the 29 men who perished that day. And that's why I'm proud to lead a bipartisan resolution honoring the 50th anniversary of the shipment. May we continue to improve the safety of the critical Great Lakes shipping industry and keep the legend living on from the Chippewa on down.
Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most with a crew.
You okay, Mama? You okay? You okay, Mama?